This is an evil question. I'm going to bet that if you're watching this video, you pick choice B. Okay, that's my bet. And the reason is that if you've watched this other videos or you've read the passage and did the passage and you had to summarize it in one word, that word would be slavery. And look, hey, it's right there, slavery. In fact, it's kind of the only choice that talks about slavery and seems pretty good. But remember, what we're trying to do, or what the SAT is trying to do on these kinds of questions in the reading section, is they're giving you choices that are 90% correct, let's say. But the 10% that's wrong is enough to make the entire choice wrong. Another way to look at it without giving the percentages is more just like they know that there are certain words and phrases and things that they can do in the choices that make them very attractive. That it's hard to resist the pull of that choice. Choice B has a lot of pull right here. We've been reading about slavery, we've been talking about slavery, the argument is about slavery, it's about slavery. And so you're pulled into choice B, and you're pulled so strongly that it doesn't matter what else is going on. That one word, slavery, is so powerful that you ignore everything else that's going on. You have to fight that. Sometimes the pull is legit. And you're getting pulled into the right answer because you truly understood everything that you read and you know for a fact that that's got to be the right answer. But you really want to be able to point to a line and say, here's why I'm right. Here's why this is the answer. Now, if we just pick choice B because of the word slavery, we're not really pointing to a line. Right? We're pointing to a bunch of lines about slavery, but there's more going on in this choice. Territorial laws are being enforced. So I want you to point to a line that proves that part, that territorial laws about slavery are being enforced by the national government. You're not going to find that line, and that's why choice B is wrong. It's a trap. It's a very powerful trap, but you gotta be nervous when a choice has a lot of pull. You really need to just pump the brakes and try to prove that answer as much as you can by pointing to a line. Because the right answer, once we find it here, once we stop and pause and start looking for lines, it's really obvious what the right answer is. Let's go to the lines that we would need. So because of the chronology rule here, we would know to kind of look in this general zone. And here's the answer to the previous one, which was 36. I know that was a hard question, so you might have gotten that wrong, and then the chronology wouldn't make a lot of sense, but it was right here. So we kind of need to follow that chronology if we were right on that question and knew where to read for this no line reference question. So, amid overflowing professions of regard for the sovereignty of the people and territory, they were despoiled of every essential privilege of sovereignty. They were not allowed to choose their governor, secretary, chief justice, associate justices, attorney, or marshal, all of whom are sent from Washington. Nor were they allowed to regulate the salaries of any of these functionaries or the daily allowance of the legislative body or even the pay of the clerks and doorkeepers, but they were left free to adopt slavery. So that last bit, too, seems to actually say that B is wrong. That the government, the federal government, is not enforcing territorial laws concerning slavery, but that right is the one thing that was left to the territories, that they would enforce their own laws about slavery. That's me reading a little too far into that, but it's definitely not saying B. What it is saying is D. It says it, right? The justices, attorney, marshal, these are all sent from Washington. So the national government is appointing officials to the territorial posts, right? They were not allowed to choose their governor, secretary, etc. It says it. So that's the kind of pull that we want a choice to have. It's not that it just feels right. It's that we're proving that it's right. It's obvious because there is a line that we can point to and we can say, here it is. Because of the time constraints of the SAT, you might not always be able to do that, but the more you can, the better. If you rely on your gut instinct, if you rely on your feelings, you're going to fall for these traps way more often than someone who's using a more rigorous strategy and evaluating individual words and really being, rigorous about this. It really does matter. And that's why, I think our strategy here, even though I only really eliminated one choice, I can eliminate the others. But I think our strategy here is process of elimination with emphasis on the word process. It's a process. It's not just oh, I don't like these choices because they don't feel right, you have to examine the words. So in choice A, they don't ever talk about commerce. In choice C, they never talk about disputes between different territories. It's always within the one territory. So those things are easier to eliminate. But B has a problem as well. And so if you go by vibe and feeling, you're going to fall for the trap. But if you take the time to use the process, you're much more likely to notice there's a problem here. And the answer, the right answer, is not hard to find. You just need to take the second it takes to find it.